Obviously, Lexi's been tremendous, especially on the defensive end. She just brings a spark and a tenacity about her that, maybe we weren't always getting on the defensive end, and she's just willing to do whatever it takes for this team.
Whispers and hushed talks between scouts and executives over a lengthy July road trip were the beginning of it all. The league started to hear Lexie Hull's name. She was unharmed. She wasn't benched for misbehaving. She was simply available. That's what other teams thought anyway. According to reports, Indiana wanted to increase their perimeter scoring. Despite having a strong defense, Hull had trouble being consistent from deep. The Fever therefore paid attention when a Western Conference team, possibly Phoenix or Dallas, according to some insiders, called. It was characterized as a straightforward depth-for-depth transaction. Just business, nothing significant. However, it abruptly ceased. The phone stopped talking. No follow-ups, no press leaks, and no callbacks. Overnight, the entire thing was buried. It didn't seem like much to the majority of supporters. However, it presented a very important question for people within the business. The deal was killed by whom? At that moment, Caitlyn Clark's management team came under fire. Let's go back to the beginning of it all. The Fever were in survival mode by the middle of the season, managing injuries, experimenting with lineups, and attempting to build around Clark's playmaking. Although Lexie Hull had been dependable, her numbers weren't particularly impressive. Hull's minutes were allegedly being reduced by coach Stephanie White's testing of younger guards. Additionally, rumors increase in professional basketball when minutes decline. Hull's the kind of player every contender wants, an assistant from a different team allegedly remarked. Strong, astute, and drama-free. However, the Fever appeared prepared to go away. Quietly, trade negotiations started. Draft compensation was one scenario that was suggested. An experienced wing was involved in another. Before anything or someone altered the equation, everything appeared to be usual. Communication between Indiana and possible trading partners stopped within a day. Furthermore, insiders subsequently asserted that the directive originated from further up the team hierarchy. Translation: it didn't sit well with Caitlyn Clark's people. You must be aware of the extent of Caitlyn Clark's operation in order to comprehend how this might possibly occur. She is a brand ecosystem in addition to being an athlete. With support from Nike, Gatorade, State Farm, Wilson, and High, she is represented by XL Sports Management.
Thing in your game day routine, or do you feel like you're just in a groove right now?
Kept in a groove. She started hanging out with me more.
It's rubbing off on me.
Some are good and some are bad.
Together, her brand deals are worth more than some WNBA team's whole squad budget. She has sponsorship advisors organizing her image down to the slightest detail, from press quotes to Instagram captions, PR teams keeping an eye on social media storylines, and consultants checking engagement statistics. Therefore, when someone in that network learned that Lexie Hull may be departing, they perceived it as more than just a basketball deal. They perceived a PR hazard. Hull is more than a teammate. She is among the few athletes who have the same public persona as Clark. Tidy, modest, and approachable. They frequently show up together in team commercials and community videos. Online fan edits refer to them as Indiana's golden duo.
Okay, first rating, I think, there's always room to improve, but I was impressed, so I'd give it a 9. But we were just hanging out, and she was like, I did this the other day, randomly, and then she turn on the game. I was like, okay. Turned on the game, and she just started going at it, so it was funny.
That type of organic chemistry is extremely valuable to Clark's marketing network. That is not something you give up for a bench shooter. Thus, her management reportedly expressed their concerns in a courteous but forceful manner. The exchange abruptly came to an end. It was power used discreetly and effectively, as well as loyalty in action. This is where the actual tension began to build. The owner of the Fever, Steve Simon, had approved the investigation of roster changes. Clark's success was crucial to his bottom line since he is a businessman first and foremost. Stephanie White, the head coach, was apparently irritated. She desired the autonomy to direct rotations free from political interference. She didn't see this as a betrayal, but rather as a tiny step to better balance. However, they soon discovered they were trapped in a new dynamic. According to a league insider, basketball logic suddenly takes a back seat when you have a player who boosts revenue by 50%.
Can I get this spring fling with vanilla cream instead of coconut cream? Can I have the beach too, please?
Simon was not going to take any chances that could cause discomfort for Clark. White's hands were tied, but she wasn't overjoyed. After the word spread, employees reported feeling a discernible chill behind closed doors. You could truly sense it when the trust between the coaching staff and high management began to erode. Officially, the focus has moved from team first to brand first. Reactions within the locker room were emotional and varied. It was viewed as a potent demonstration of loyalty by athletes who were close to Clark. She defended her friend. She protected a loved one by using her power. That has some significance. Others, however, found it difficult to swallow. "Look, I respect Caitlyn," a veteran allegedly said off camera to a local reporter. "She is a star, but a team's performance is completely altered if some members are untouchable."
Our defense improved a lot, so I think offensively and defensively we've taken a step forward, and that's kind of what the coaches challenged us in going into that break too.
"I love Lexi, but we can't pretend there isn't a double standard anymore," someone else added quietly. No one made any public remarks. There was anxiety, but nobody wanted to start a media frenzy. The irony is that, although Clark likely intended it to be a friendly gesture, it was perceived as a show of dominance. Even though she had the best of intentions, the cracks began to appear in her view. Nevertheless, even her detractors acknowledged that Caitlyn had altered the WNBA's overall vibe. Nobody had ever witnessed a rookie exercise such control, not even veterans. Let's now discuss Lexie Hull, the calm epicenter of the maelstrom. She remained silent despite the commotion. No likes on dubious postings, no strange Instagram stories, and no tense-sounding comments. She simply worked. More repetitions, early workouts, and unceasing vigor. After then, something intriguing took place. Her minutes began to increase. Once more, her impact on defense increased. In interviews, Clark started emphasizing her, describing her as vital and underappreciated. Fans noticed.
Impressive of a job did Stephanie do as coach with all the moving parts throughout the season?
I mean, incredible. Simply incredible. Be so easy to give up and say, we're just going to take this year, we're going to be a building year.
On Fever fan pages, the hashtag #KeepLexi began to trend. Even features about her chemistry with Clark were broadcast by local broadcasters. It was the kind of narrative shift that doesn't happen by accident, subtle PR sorcery. And the outcome was the same whether it was sincere appreciation or calculated image management. Hull transformed from a trade bait to an essential teammate. Even analysts were acknowledging it by the following month. When Lexus was on the ground, the fever was more intense. Is it a coincidence? Perhaps, but fans were aware that something had obviously changed behind the scenes. League offices became aware of the alleged trade intervention. Parity is the driving force behind the WNBA's expansion. The notion that all teams compete on an equal basis. However, what happens when a player's impact surpasses the internal organization of the league? According to a league executive, it's not a bad problem to have, but it's a new one because if Clark's team could block a move once, what stops them from influencing coaching decisions, media policies, or future signings? Some insiders even conjectured that this could lead to a long-term shift, a kind of era of player empowerment, similar to what the NBA experienced when players began influencing teams from within. The difference is that it's happening more quickly here. The WNBA's infrastructure was never designed to handle the rate at which Clark's fame is growing. Areas are sold out for every appearance. Every item bearing her name becomes viral. People listen to her or her team when they talk, even if it's quietly, which is both potent and risky. More than most fans anticipated, the fallout from this incident altered Indiana. Executives began to walk more cautiously behind the scenes. There was now an implicit question in every roster debate. What effect will this have on Caitlyn's team? Everyone senses it even though nobody expresses it verbally. Public releases are double-checked by marketing teams. Clark's PR advisors work with social media teams to plan captions. To guarantee brand alignment, sponsor announcements are supposedly subject to an approval cycle. It's complete but subtle. And the outcome is what some refer to as intimidation and others as efficiency. Because it's nearly hard for everyone around her to keep business and basketball apart when one player, no matter how gifted, becomes the brand itself. In interviews, even Steve Simon's tone changed. He used to discuss creating a competitive team. These days, it's safeguarding the direction and culture that Caitlyn is developing. She has that much influence, and it won't go away very soon. What exactly was this about, then? Was it leverage or loyalty? Perhaps both. In actuality, Caitlyn Clark has always exhibited intense loyalty. She has taken her circle with her from Iowa to Indiana. Supporters, coaches, friends, and teammates. Chemistry is important to her. Trust is important to her. Thus, this appears to be a friend defending another friend on the surface. However, loyalty turns into leverage when that connection coincides with multi-million-dollar brand influence. Lexie Hull may not have realized it, but as soon as Clark's circle intervened, her worth surged. The Fever also took away a lesson they will never forget. A relocation won't take place if it doesn't match the Caitlyn Clark story. That isn't conceit. Power is that. Earned power acquired via success, riches, and fame. If handled improperly, this kind of influence has the power to either strengthen or destroy a franchise. The WNBA is rapidly evolving. Teams dominated players for decades. The biggest performers are now beginning to change the course of events. The most obvious indication of that change is that Caitlyn Clark's relationship with Lexie Hull can deteriorate. A superstar who controls not only her team's performance but also who stays and who leaves. The absurd thing is that it isn't happening through dramatic comments or public demands. Behind-the-scenes brand negotiations, meetings, and phone conversations are all discreetly taking place. Soft power is the modern game. Caitlyn Clark is learning it more quickly than anyone before her, regardless of whether fans like it or not. The front desk staff at Fever is aware of this. Her teammates are aware of it, and now the league as a whole is as well. Ultimately, this narrative is about more than just Lexie Hull remaining in her current position. It has to do with what her staying stands for: control, influence, and allegiance. In professional sports, these three elements seldom coexist harmoniously. Some claim that Caitlyn protected her friend, just like any good teammate would. Others think her camp used its influence to sway the roster to her advantage. However, there is one truth that all sides concur on. Caitlyn Clark's inner circle is now the first to hear about anything that occurs within Indiana's organization. That's the mark of a generational star. Was this a fair move? Perhaps not. Was that a calculated move? Of course. And it could be the reason why the Fever's locker room will look completely different both on and off the court in the upcoming season. Because everyone else must knock before entering the franchise when one player has the keys. If you believe that Caitlyn's devotion saved her teammate, give it a 100. Or comment power move if you think that all of this was a part of a larger scheme. The message is clear in any case. Loyalty is more than simply a virtue in Indiana. It's a tool. Additionally, Caitlyn Clark recently demonstrated her proficiency with it. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe because, believe me, the story of Caitlyn the Fever and her expanding empire is far from finished.